Allow me to share my screen with you. So the last thing we did when we're looking at general rules in Spanish, and this is very general, here we're talking about adjective, was Blanca nieve, white snow. And the reason that the Blanca goes before the noun rather than after the noun, because snow is naturally white. It's inherent in the description of snow. Okay, so we're going to continue. Now we're looking at adjectives that go before and adjectives that go after. Okay, so when we have the adjective bueno, when it's before the noun, it has a very different meaning. Well, not very different, related, but different meaning than when it goes after the noun. So bueno, when it goes before the noun, means harmless or simple, not pretentious, just normal, simple person. When we say bueno after the noun, it means what you normally know bueno to mean, good. A lot of times, I've noticed this, a lot of times when you have adjectives that go before and adjectives that go after, the principal meaning, the one that most people know about when they say that word and they say, well, what does bueno mean? That's the adjective that goes after. The less known meaning, the meaning says, oh, and it also means harmless or simple. That's the adjective that goes before. That's not always true, because it all depends on where you learn Spanish, how you learn Spanish, but many times it's true. Okay. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. This is Carolyn Ficklin McLean. Welcome.com, WYLCOME. .com. And we're talking about Spanish general rules. A lot of this has to do with adjectives, but not all the time, not all the time. Okay, so an adjective which always goes before rather than after are cardinal numbers. You probably didn't even know numbers were adjectives. The cardinal numbers, there's two kinds of number, ordinal and cardinal. Cardinal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ordinal is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. And the way I remember, I think of cardinal, C. And when I think of numbers, what do I first think of? I think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think of first, second, third. And ordinal comes next. It begins with the O. And then when I start thinking in more detail, I think of first, second, third, fourth, fifth. I don't know if that helps. I learned through association. Once again, here we're talking about an adjective that goes before versus goes after. Look at the difference. Cierto. No, but notice they're related. Cierto means particular. This particular person versus cierto, which means this is true, this is right. Once again, if someone said to you or says to me, what does cierto mean? I would normally say first, it's true, it's right, right? And then maybe I would say, and also it means particular. But the meaning that the word, when the adjective, when it goes after, usually is its primary meaning. And when it goes before, it's its secondary meaning. Okay, here you have cuando. Well, you know, cuando always goes before the noun. And cuanto, the difference is not Spanish, but English. Cuanto can either mean how much or how many. Now, in English, how much is non-countable. and how many is countable. The way you can tell the difference in Spanish is when it's how many, it agrees. It'll say cuántos niños, niños, cuánto niño. I don't think you say cuánto niño. Okay. You don't say that. Right? You would say, so cuánto, it agrees, cuántas niñas, right? Versus cuánto when it means how much, because in Spanish you have countables and non-countable. It doesn't, it remains singular in form, remains singular. ¿Cuánto arroz quieres? You don't say cuántos arroces quieres. ¿Cuánto pan? Okay, here we go. Now, definite articles are not used with partitive nouns. Partitive nouns are nouns when you're talking about a whole and you're talking about a part of that whole. Tomo refresco. Now you're not going to take all the sodas or all the refreshments. You're going to take a part of it. But you don't say tomo el refresco. It's tomo and then the word refresco. I lluvia, right? That's a whole, right? And there is rain outside. I don't know when you would say that, but as an example. Definite articles in Spanish, preposition and definite articles required with time words. Por la mañana, por la tarde. Mañana and tarde, morning and afternoon. Those are called time words or adverbs of time. There I go, repeating. Sorry, I'll erase that. Definite articles in Spanish, feminine definite articles required to tell time. Once again, repeat. Sorry. All right. Not used in superlatives when the adjective follows the noun. See, now you got to know a little bit of grammar. When the adjective follows the noun. El libro menos importante. The least important book. That's how you can't translate it directly, especially you have to change some of the words. But this is the least important book. Here, el libro menos, you have the adjective menos following the noun. First, you have libros and then menos. So therefore, you do not use the. You do not use the definite, you do not use the definite article. El hombre menos guapo. The least handsome man or the least good looking. Okay. So here, the menos in both cases is following the noun. And when it, according to the rules, you do not use the definite article. And I hope you don't know what the definite articles are. El, la, los, las. They're four definite articles. The definite articles in Spanish used for parts of the body, mental faculties, and clothing. In English, you say, my head hurts. My head hurts. In Spanish, oh, this is hard to translate. The head hurts me. If you were to translate, but that's not how you would translate. When you translate how it's said in the other language. But you don't say mi cabeza. You say la cabeza. Me duele, and duele comes from the verb doler, and doler means to hurt. So, me duele la cabeza. And the reason it looks so funny because it's an irregular verb. That doler, that O changes to a UE, but you're going to have to learn about irregular verbs. And this is not a video on irregular verbs. Okay. Perdí los calcetines. You don't say perdí mis calcetines. You say perdí los calcetines. I've heard people say me perdí los calcetines. Okay, but all right. So when you're talking about body, parts of the body, mental faculties, and clothing, unlike in English where you say my house, my head, my socks, my shoes, you use the definite article in Spanish. Okay, once again, it's the same rule. Me corto el dedo. I cut my finger. I'm going to translate it the way it's translated in English. Because if you do it directly from Spanish and you try to do it the way they have in Spanish, in English, it's incorrect. And te dolía la mano, your hand hurts. You know what? I have to go back here. Me duele la cabeza. Me corta el dedo. Not me corto el dedo. Me corto el dedo. And te dolía la mano. Because the subject of the verb is not I. This is incorrect. I made a mistake. By the time you get it, it'll be, well, I don't send out these cards. So it's me corta el dedo. And te dolía la mano. Because the subject of the verb is the dedo, the finger, not I. Because this is not a reflexive verb, may boy, or it's not reflexive. The may refers to whose finger is it. The te refers to whose hand is it. Okay. I must have been thinking in English and writing in Spanish. Okay, whatever. I shouldn't say whatever. That means lo que sea. Que sea, lo que sea. That's not right. I made a mistake. Okay, here we go. Definite articles in Spanish used with superlative más or menos. Article modifies the noun. La mujer más bonita, the prettiest woman. La mesa más menos grande, the least big table, or the smallest table. I wouldn't say the least big table. I would say the smallest table. Okay, so la mujer más bonita, but in English you would say the prettiest, or the most beautiful, or the smallest, or the least biggest. I would say the smallest table. In Spanish, there is no definite article, and in English there is. Okay. Not used when possessive adjective precedes más or menos. So here's the possessive adjective, su, me. So when the possessive adjective is before más or before menos, there is no definite article. Su hijo, más chico, your youngest son. Mi amiga menos alta, my shortest friend. Okay, so when más or menos is preceded by the possessive adjective, you do not use the definite article. You say su hijo, no el más chico, mi amiga, no la menos alta, no. Es su hijo más chico, mi amiga menos alta. A lot of this is very much into the weeds. And you learn how to say this, a lot of it, because you live in the country and you just hear it all again and again. And then if somebody says it differently, it sounds funny. But if you're not going to be able to live in the country, then you have to learn all these little technical things of the language. Okay, not used after. So the definite article is not used after estar, the verbs estar, resultar, parecer, y ponerse. I can't say parecer and ponerse. My tongue gets all twisted up. Es menos alto que. Me puse más triste. Okay, do you notice that after you wouldn't say es el menos alto? He's the least tallest than. I became the saddest, where in English you use the, in Spanish you do not. Some of these expressions, see, I've taught myself not to translate because I tried to see Spanish as an independent language. The only time I translated would be when I hear it orally, but especially when I see it, I try to teach myself to read it as it is and not to see what it would look like in English. All right, not used after quedar or quedarse and other verbs of becoming. Me quedo más feliz que. Do you see after the verb quedar, you don't put the definite article. Quedo más triste que. If you see after the verb quedar, once again, you don't put the article. A very good verb to learn because it can become because it has uros of meanings. Is the verb quedar and quedarse. To stay, to remain, to keep, to maintain. That would be a very, very good verb to learn. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do about 2 more and then I'll cut this off and then I'll just continue. There's about 100 of these cards here. Just little cards just cards to explain little rules of Spanish, not little rules. Rules that aren't big, like, regular verbs and irregular verbs. And if you say it incorrectly, people will understand you, but they'll also understand that you still don't speak the language fluently. That's what it is. So it's not little rude. All right, definite articles. This, I remember learning this. I was in the Escuela para Extranjeros in la UNAM. And I remember that the teacher kept, one of the classes I went to, because when I got to university in Mexico, I went to class, but not every day. When I was a kid, from high school, from grade school to university in the United States, I never cut a class. But when I got abroad and I saw all the opportunities and I said, oh my God, I could learn this stuff in class or I can learn this stuff outside of class. I chose to learn outside. So I went to class sometimes, but I remember this rule, Carlos Quinto. And I remember Carlos Quinto because It was a candy. It's a chocolate candy in Mexico, Carlos Quinto. And I remember Carlos Quinto before I knew what Carlos Quinto meant. And it means Charles V. In English, we say Charles V. He was the emperor of the Roman Empire. I forgot exactly when, 13, 14. I don't think, maybe 1500. And I remember I said, oh, Charles V. And then I said, Carlos, and then I said, El Quinto, no, that doesn't sound right. Because I heard it and learned it before I realized what it meant. And Enrique Octavo, which means Henry VIII. Where in English we have the fifth, the eighth, the fifth, the eighth, right? In Spanish, you don't. This is an ordinal numbers, quinto, octavo, fifth, and eighth. One more, and then we will cut this off and we'll continue on another video. No definite articles. Oh, these are little expressions that can drive anybody crazy. If you speak English, it drives you crazy. If you speak Spanish and you're trying to learn English, it drives you crazy. If you speak English and you're trying to learn Spanish, and vice versa. Okay, so here we go. So no definite articles. Where in Spanish, where in English you say in the short or in the long run. In English, there's no definite article. I mean, in Spanish, there's no definite article. A corto plazo, a largo plazo, right? And your tendency is to want to do it like it is in your, in your native language. But in Spanish, no article. In English, article. In the short run, in the long run. In Spanish, a corto plazo, a largo plazo. One more. Okay. Once again, in English, up the hill. In Spanish, no article. Abajo, up, no, below, and arriba, up. So cuesta, which is the hill, cuesta, abajo, down, and cuesta, arriba, no L, no article. Okay, no L or la, las or los. Okay, so this will do for this is video 2, general Spanish rules or Spanish general rules. And like I said, these are technical. If you say it incorrectly, people are going to understand you, just like we'll understand if I say, instead of saying in the short run, I say in short run, or instead of saying in the long run, I say in long run. It's kind of jarring, but I get you. I get you. And I say, where are other persons? That's not their language, right? But here, this is if you want to speak the language as close as possible to the way it's spoken by the native speakers. So this is Coralla Fickler McLean, welcome.com, WYLCONE.com. And here I'm looking at those rules that you normally don't get in school or in language class that can help you speak Spanish as close as possible to the native speaker. So I'm going to stop sharing. If this has been any help, I'm glad. And if you could be so kind as to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. So I hope you have a good day, and we'll be back because, like I said, I have about 100 of these cards looking at general rules. And I have a whole set of cards looking at gender, a whole set of cards looking at other aspects of Spanish. Oh, what I've been saving for later on is looking at verbs, especially the irregular verbs. There are quite a few in Spanish. Okay, so Coralla Fickler McLean, welcome, WYLCONE.com. Have a good day. Thank you.